Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well. Welcome to today's edition of Fuckup Nights Harare. Um, Thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope you're having a good Friday, and that you're keeping safe at home. That we are keeping you all in our prayers during this time. So today's event is a very special one. Because we wanted to celebrate the women that we have in our beautiful community in Zimbabwe, the business women, entrepreneurs, creatives, and all women alike, to allow them to share their story with us of their journeys from where they came from, how they started out, and basically just focus on the major failures that they had during as they climb their way to the top, where they currently are. So right now, I'll just show a quick video that's going to tell you more about what Fuckup Nights is, why it was started, and so on. All right. So that is just a basic run through of what Fuck Up Nights is about, and I'll give a chance to my other two lovely co-hosts, Oxy and Tadzoka, to introduce themselves and also tell us more about Impact Harare, the host of the event today.
Hi guys, my name is Oxy and I'm the Business Development Associate at Impact Harare.
Hi, and I'm Tadzoka. I'm the Director at Impact Hub Harare.
So we're just going to tell you a little bit about what Impact Hub does. I'll pass it over to Tadzoka.
Okay, so at Impact Hub, we are a community of social change makers. We work with entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and basically we are pushing forward social good. So we really are passionate about bringing events and activities and programming that will help move us forward as a country and as a global community. And this is why we really like this event series, because it talks about people's failures and helps the community learn from them as well.
Yeah, and then, due to the coronavirus pandemic, we've had to restructure a lot of our programming, and we've always been like tech-savvy people. So this is our very first virtual event, and I hope you guys like it, and I hope that you can adapt the same for your companies as we go forward.
Thanks. Yeah. Back to you, Taku. We're seeing,
right,
we can't hear. So are those people able to hear now on the live?
All right. Are people able to hear now on the live stream? Okay. Let us try fix that. Is the audio now? Okay. Perfect. Now, first off, we will go straight into our first video, which is from one of a very popular Zimbabwean artist who recently took the limelight, actually, after featuring on a song with Winky D. Her name is Gemma Griffith, and we will be hearing her story first. Now. All right. Yes, very sorry about that. I heard that there's no audio on the video, so I'll be correcting that shortly.
Hey guys, it's Gemma Griffiths, and I am here to share my perspective on failure and ways that it has affected me in my career and in my life. I've been working towards a dream since I was very young. I had a solid goal in mind, and I was determined to reach it. I wanted to be a musician, a singer, an artist, to write and perform music across the globe, to make music that people connected with, lots of people, and to make music that connected people to each other. Now, let me start by saying this. My industry is not for the faint hearted. In many ways, it's not an easy road. There are no instruction manuals or quick tricks on how to become a successful artist. There are success stories we can look to, so many of them. But each one is so incredibly unique because there is no formula to success in this industry. There's no right way or one way to do this job, and you never know what will or will not work. So, the probability of you getting it right first time is zero. Therefore, my career choice, my dream of being an artist, has undoubtedly been a journey riddled with shortcomings and pitfalls. But in these moments, and there have been many, when I have not achieved the outcome that I had worked for, I cannot see them as unfixable failures, but rather essential experiences that will lead to growth. Thomas Edison said it right. He said, I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. You see, the way I see it, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong. It doesn't matter if you continually get it wrong. Because even if you don't learn what it was you were intending to learn, you will learn how not to do something. And this, in turn, will get you closer in learning how you should do it. Our idea, the human idea of success, is picturing a road with a steady uphill climb. That's not it at all. It is full of falls, massive ones. Sometimes we end up going backwards, but then we pick ourselves up, pack that lesson up with us, and try again. This time with more experience. If we recognize this from the get go, it will be so much easier because we've recognized that we are going to fail and it is not all going to be smooth sailing. But that is how it is with every single success story. I don't know a single artist at the top of their game who has had a perfectly easy, bump free trip getting there. So don't compare your behind the scenes with someone else's proudest achievements. You see, anyone who's done anything will have 1,000 times that they didn't get it right. I guess what I'm trying to get at is that if you are going to do anything important, anything different, anything groundbreaking, you will have multiple times of failure. The trick is to go in knowing that it's a part of the package and it is more valuable than we give it credit. To fail, to realize, to get back up, and to move forward with a fresh perspective. I guess if there's one thing I hope that you guys can take away from this and that I can remind myself of, it is that failure will always be a part of the story, but it doesn't have to be the end part. These are lessons and these are ways that we're going to change and grow. And the sooner we realize that and the sooner we embrace that, the sooner these little failures become parts of our story that leads ultimately to the success that we have worked for that before we get there. And I guess that's the best part of it, is finding the positivity and the lesson in every little failure, little or big. Thanks. Hey guys, I'm a
Very sorry about this. So next, for now, I think maybe if anyone has any comments, additions that they'd like to, or anything they'd like to say about what we've just watched. Unfortunately, Gemma was not able to join us for the live stream right now. But if you guys have any questions, please do post them in the comment section, and we will be sure to answer, to make sure you get answers to all your questions. Next, we will have the next video, which is from another successful entrepreneur, female entrepreneur in Zimbabwe. Her name is Dumi Saninkala, and she is the director of business development at Telco, which is one of the leading internet service providers in Zimbabwe. So we will be watching a video shortly. Just bear with us as we make sure that our audio plays this time around. Yes, thank you.
I started my career businesses, and hello everybody, my name is Dumusani Nkala. I'm an entrepreneur and a business manager. I love starting businesses, I love growing businesses, and I want to share with you a little bit about my journey, particularly around my failures in growing businesses and the things that I learned in that process. I started my career about 20 years ago, I think now, in 2000, the year 2000, just after I finished university. And just like my dad, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And more specifically, I wanted to be an entrepreneur that grows businesses Africa-wide, because I really believe that we as Africans have the potential to impact the world. So I started my career, I was very young, I was very idealistic, and I was given the opportunity to run a small business in Johannesburg. I was very excited, and it took me a little while to get into it, but at a certain point it looked like things were going really, really well. I had a team of 15 people who were highly motivated and were doing amazing things every single day. But the year 2008 hit, and as if you remember the year 2008, it was the year when a lot of businesses started to crumble because of the global financial crisis. Luckily, because we were in Joburg, the global financial crisis didn't affect most financial institutions in Joburg very severely until roundabout towards the end of 2009 and 2010. And that is when the business started to crumble. And I learned a number of things through that period of business failure. It was emotionally difficult. It was very, very scarring in many ways. But I must say that this is one of the key things that changed my life forever. And if one can never be grateful for failure, that is one of the failures that I am most grateful for. And I want to share with you 10 things that I learned during that period that helped me to reflect on why the business had failed and how it had failed in the first place. So here are my 10 lessons from failure. The first lesson is that I was very poor at planning, and we were very poor at planning. We were young managers, and we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And so poor planning led to business failure. The second thing is I wasn't really that great a manager at all. I remember actually one year, in the early parts of the business, I had a team of 4 people, and they all resigned on one day. I was such a poor manager. The third thing that I learned was that I needed to be better in my financial literacy. My financial literacy at that stage was very, very low. I didn't understand that running a business was all about cash flow rather than what you see on pieces of paper. And so my financial literacy was very low. And since then, I've done a lot to improve my financial literacy. The fourth reason, I think, for failure was complacency. We got to a place where we had 2 very strong anchor customers, and we were making quite a little bit of money from those 2 customers. And one of the reasons why the business failed is that one of the customers pulled out, and he or they were 60% of the business. And immediately that sent the business into crisis. So because we were complacent about growing our customer base, because we had 2 very strong customers, and we thought that they would never go away, the business failed. The fifth reason why the business failed was poor accountability. As a team, we would make, sort of some kind of plans, but we're not accountable very well to anyone, to a board of directors or anyone, for accomplishing those plans. So as a result, the growth in terms of customer base didn't happen. And as I say, we were very complacent about that. The sixth reason that I learned was that sometimes when you have an idea in the early stages and you launch it too early when the market is not ready, that can lead to business failure because you don't have the cash flow to carry you through until your idea is well established and customers are taking it up. The seventh reason for failure was very poor hiring practices. Sometimes we were overstaffed in some areas and then understaffed in very critical areas. So that also led to the human resource situation, also led to failure. The eighth reason why I think there was business failure was we weren't very great at managing our capacity. We had overcapacity in some aspects of the business. We used to sell a service, and I think we kept too much capacity and therefore were paying too much money for that overcapacity. And so we were not very good at being responsive to capacity management. The ninth reason for failure was that I had very poor boundaries. I wasn't very good at identifying my own personal limitations and also wasn't very good at drawing clear boundaries between myself and various people and various things. And so as a result, I was often overstretched, undercapacitated myself. The 10th and final reason that I think the business failed was that we had no exit strategy. We never envisaged a day when we would have to exit the business or we would have to wrap up the business. And so as a result, there was no exit strategy. There was nothing that we were working towards. There was no contingency plan in place for when various things happened. I think that these 10 things apply to every kind of business, not just big businesses, but small businesses. And sometimes because of the way we run our small businesses, that naturally leads to failure. And so I hope perhaps my story and some of these 10 lessons from failure might inspire someone to think a little bit more, to plan a little bit better, to get their finance up, to think around their boundaries and their boundary management, and to just basically plan for success rather than plan for failure. But the last thing I'd like to say is that failing is not bad. It's not wrong. It's actually part of how we learn. And so take your failures as badges, take them as opportunities and challenges to actually grow yourself and to make yourself a better person. Thank you for giving me your time. I hope you've learned a little something from this.
Thank you very. I hope everyone was able to hear that this time, and that we all heard what she was talking about. That it is very important that you consider everything that's going on in your business, uh, and that you actually train yourself on how to properly manage your business, set boundaries with your staff, and as well not depend on one or two big clients, but try to diversify as much as possible to try avoid failure. Again, unfortunately, she was also not able to join us for the live stream. I guess it's something to do with the holidays. But we will also be taking questions, and we will have a follow-up video where she will answer all your questions. So if you have any questions, be sure to post them in the comment section. Now we will move on to the final, our final speaker, who is Chiedza, Chiedza Makwara. She is the founder and managing director of um, Charlie Stevens International, which is a freight company. And she's also an award-winning writer and producer who has won a NAMA award for one of her productions. Without letting me go too deep into what she has done or is doing, I will share her story with you now.
The organizers of Fuckup Nights have asked me to share my fuck up stories while we stay home. My name is Chieta. Managing director of Charlie Stevens International. I'm also an award-winning author, producer, and scriptwriter, a NAMA award winner. So my fuck up stories, I'm going to focus on logistics, my day-to-day job. Since logistics is a chain from source to a final destination, you have to check everything. You have to check everything thoroughly. And one of the things that I did, or we did when we were starting out, my partner and I think we had two other guys at the time, was we didn't check something thoroughly. We had our first container a couple of years back coming from China. We brought this thing in, we looked at the paperwork. It was shipped to China. Once we got to the port for port clearance, we realized one of the Incoterms was ex-works. Now, because we're so used to things being CIF or FOB, ex-works means the shipping was not paid. We had already paid, we had already quoted, sorry, our customer and told them that the shipping had been paid, and it had not. So that was quite a big fuck up at that time. It was such a big thing at that time because it meant the client hadn't paid for shipping and they had to pay for shipping, as well as the port clearance, as well as the literally like picking the stuff up from the container into the truck, as well as the transport into the city where it was going. So that was quite hectic. It was quite a big fuck up at the time. And what I've learned is check everything thoroughly. I think from the time we started to build processes and systems, and it's worked out well now in that regard of having the systems in check where you check everything, the documentations, the bill of ladings, the bill of entries, and and track the shipment. So that was one. Another fuck up, well, communication errors in dealing with friends or close acquaintances, and maybe family. Once we're growing again, I think we had a situation where we were dealing with somebody we were acquainted to. And one of the things that happened was he was disgruntled, as that is something happens in business. And he wrote such a nasty email, and there was a lot of fucks in the email. Very unprofessional, but emotions do rise. And I think my fuck up was the response to the email. I felt he attacked my staff. I felt we were attacked, and I responded to him at the same level he responded to me with some facts. Very unprofessional as well, but quite a learning curve. Learning curve in terms of, again, we built systems and we open a department where somebody has interfaced directly with the clients. My partner and I do not interface directly, especially with people we know. We have teams for that now, and wow, it really can fuck up relationships when when the interaction in business is with people that you're close to and people that you work with, or people that you know. So I don't know what else. Well, there've been so many things that have happened, and a lot of fuck ups, but I think everything is a learning curve. If I'm asked to share again, I will. So yeah, that's it from me. Stay home, everybody.
All right.
All
And
right. All right.
that was our final speaker for the day. I'm not sure if anyone else has other questions they'd like to ask. As I said, we will be doing follow-up videos with each and every one of these beautiful women. And yes, please feel free, if you have any questions, just post in the comment section and we'll be sure to pass them on for a follow-up video. I would like to find out if Oxy and Tazoko would like to have any last words to share with us before we end the live stream.
Hi.
Hi guys.
So all the fuck ups that we had during this video were on purpose so that you could see. No, we're kidding.
Totally not.
Totally not. But yeah, it's very interesting how like just trying to figure this out and all the technical glitches that we had. But I think that really it's amazing. We're really grateful that these three women have shared their stories with us, and also we're also grateful to have had this opportunity to make those mistakes. And I think that's one of the most important things is if you're not fucking up, it means you're not trying anything. So I find that really important. And since this is our first virtual fuck up nights, fuck up afternoon, I guess, I would like to read one of my favorite quotes because it embodies kind of everything that we've been talking about. So it's the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong the man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And I think the stories that these three women have shared with us today have shown that they did greatly. They tried. There were some mess ups along the way, but it's only because they tried that they were able to get to the stage they are in now.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to see a set of entrepreneurs trying again, tune in next week, same time. We have our first virtual Founders Live, and I promise you, we won't fuck up.
And if we do,
it's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to our wonderful speakers as well. Yeah. Back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for everyone who joined us today. And I hope you guys have an amazing holiday. And we will see you on Friday for Founders Live Harare Volume 9, where we'll have 5 amazing entrepreneurs pitch the businesses to you guys. And don't worry, it'll all end up much better than it did today. Anyway, thank you. Enjoy your Easter holidays.